Now we want to go over to the Obama campaign spokesperson, who you saw just a moment ago, Bill Burton, to get his response. Good morning to you, Bill.
Hey, I'm guessing you guys don't want to talk about the economy, huh?
Well, Nicole's first line was about the economy, but we are discussing this ad because the McCain camp has put out this highly, I guess attack ad is what you would call it. It's a web ad this morning. But here's the question that I want to ask you this morning, Bill, because there's been some confusion about the answers coming from different spokespeople for Barack Obama as to when, in fact, Senator Barack Obama knew who Bill Ayers was. Because your camp has said that when he went to that coffee in 1995 to launch his state Senate campaign, he did not know the background of Bill Ayers. So when, in fact, did he learn the background? Because Robert Gibbs now has said that at some point he did learn it between 95 and 2002, but he still continued his association with him. Right.
And let me, even though you didn't ask, let me answer a couple other questions about it, because, there are questions about Bill Ayers and Barack Obama that have been asked and answered, and I just want to make sure your viewers know, because you would never know it from listening to the McCain campaign and watching some of the coverage this morning. Reporters have looked into this. Barack Obama has talked about it during the campaign. It came up in the primary. Barack talked about it in a debate. And the fact of the matter is, even after all these reports, at the end of the day, their paths crossed a couple times. Did he know about his past when he went over to his house? No. When he found out about the terrible past that he had, did he say that the actions were detestable and deplorable? Absolutely. But after everyone has looked through this and combed over it and spent so much time on it, the bottom line is that Barack Obama has said in clear, unequivocal terms that the things that he did were completely terrible. And there's no question about that. But the fact is, this morning we wake up and when you open up the newspaper, and every newspaper from the Washington Post to the Wall Street Journal, which loves John McCain, says that he has a new program. It's $300 billion. It's terrible. What it does is it puts taxpayers on the hook, but we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about something that's already been asked and answered and discussed, and and I can talk about it till I'm blue in the face, but it doesn't help American voters and American taxpayers understand what's really going on in this race, which is that John McCain, as his campaign has said over and over again, does not want to talk about the economy, because if they do, they lose. And so what we're focused on today, and you'll see us talking about it later today, is this mortgage plan. It's $300 billion, billion with a B. And what it does is it puts taxpayers on the hook for all of that money, instead of what Barack Obama thinks, which is that the folks who have the mortgages and the banks who made the bad decisions should be on the hook for that money.
All right, so Bill, we'll be watching for that throughout the day from the Obama campaign. Meanwhile, I want to ask you to respond to something. We had a guest on just about 10 minutes ago, a fellow by the name of John Murtagh. He's a guy who was less than 10 years old when the Weather Underground bombed his house. His father was a judge. He's become given his history, an expert at the Weather Underground. He said, he just quoted, he said that he thinks that the relationship between Barack and his wife, Michelle, and Bill Ayers, and his wife, Bernadine Dorn, goes back 20 years to when Michelle worked at the same law firm in Chicago as Bernadette Dorn, the wife of Bill Ayers. Would you care to comment on that?
Sure. I mean, I saw that interview. I saw the interview with John Fund. I mean, watching TV this morning, it's like a mix between an infomercial for the McCain campaign and an episode of The X-Files, with all the conspiracies and crisscrossing suggestions of associations and secret meetings and things like that. No, we've said already before that Senator Obama didn't know him until 1995.
So even though both of the wives worked at the same law firm,
a plan that puts taxpayers on the hook for $300 billion. That is not a small thing.
But Bill,
and we're not talking about that. And the McCain campaign would desperately like to not talk about that, because they're getting pulverized in newspapers across the country this morning.
But so even though the wives worked together at that law firm 20 years ago, no connection.
No connection. And Senator Obama has nothing to do with what Bill Ayers did, and he said that it was detestable and terrible. I mean, like I said, we can talk about this all morning long till
then why
both of
did he
us are
keep his
blue in the face, but
association
it
going with
doesn't.
them, Bill?
But it does not
But
move
Bill,
the ball forward for the American people, and it has nothing to do with folks who, even as Nicolle said,
well,
who are
some would
sitting at
argue
their
that it
kitchen
has to do
tables
with the
trying to
character of
figure
a
out
person.
how they're going to pay their bills, how they're going to,
Some would argue
these
that it has
candidates are
to
going to
do with the
strengthen the
judgment
economy.
of a person, specifically when so far I have not heard a specific date and time when Barack Obama actually found out who Bill Ayers was. Was it 1996, 97, 98, 2000?
A specific date?
Yeah, when
Gretchen,
he
listen to
actually
yourself.
found out.
A specific date
when he
and
actually
time? Are
found
you kidding
out
me?
who
How about a
Bill
year?
You think that
Ayers
every time he met somebody,
and
he
kept-
pulled out his calendar and
Well, I
wrote
think
down
if you heard that one of your
446,
associates
September
was a
14th,
domestic terrorist, you might remember that.
1994, met this person. I mean, Gretchen, this is ridiculous.
Bill, you might
I mean, it's
remember.
completely ridiculous.
Would you remember
These questions
when you
have
met
been
a terrorist?
asked and answered over and over again. And it has nothing to do with where the American people are and what we need to do to move our economy forward and actually help middle-class families. It's a distraction. But I understand this is what the McCain campaign wants to talk about. And, you know, they're pretty effectively getting to talk about it and getting me to talk about it on Fox News
We're
this
talking
morning
about this because a heck of a lot of our viewers want to know about it as well. So that's why we are asking
Okay, sure.
the
I'm
questions
sure
today.
you've got McCain supporters watching Fox News. That's not news to anybody.
If you saw the recent
but
studies,
the fact is,
we've got
I bet your
30%
voters
Democrats,
would love
30%
to know.
independents.
I bet your voters would love to know what is going on with this $300 billion plan
I'm sure
that
they
John
do.
McCain is
They
going to
wanna know
saddle
everything,
taxpayers
Bill.
on.
They
They
wanna know
do want to
everything.
know about that.
Thank you
So
for
maybe
joining
you ought to
us
talk
this
about
morning.
it.
Thank you for joining
Gretchen.
us.